Hey guys, this is Mrs. Harvin, and we are going to continue our chapter on inverse functions by continuing to talk about logarithms. Remember, we learned in the previous lesson that logarithms are the inverse of the exponential function. And because we have some special laws when we're dealing with exponents, we also have those same laws when we're dealing with logarithms. So we're going to look at some laws of logarithms today that will make it easier for you to solve logarithms. Our biblical correlation comes from 2 Chronicles 26:6, which says, Uzziah built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gate, at the valley gate, and at the angle of the wall, and he fortified them. So we know Uzziah was using his math to create a structure, to build a structure. You guys might use these logarithms when you're doing calculus, AP calculus, when you're trying to find the area of a surface that's not a nice, neat rectangle, but a curvy surface, like the area of a lake. There are all different kinds of ways that we can use these math skills to do what God has tasked us to do, which is, we know by the creation mandate, take care of his creation. Our lesson objective for today is that the student, you, will state and apply the laws of logarithms and use the change of base formula to find logarithms in any base. So the first thing we need to do is learn these laws of logarithms. And in order for you to state them, you're going to have to commit them to memory. So whatever you need to do to commit this to memory, take notes, make flashcards, do that. And then we're going to apply these laws of logarithms in problems to help us simplify and solve logarithm problems. And finally, we're going to use the change of base formula. This is important, especially if you're dealing with older calculators. Your calculator may not allow you to do logarithms with anything other than a base of 10. And so you might have to change the base of a problem to a base 10 so that you can calculate that with your calculator. But let's start by stating the laws of logarithms. So the laws of logarithms are derived directly from the exponent laws. Remember, we said that the exponential function looks like this. The logarithmic function, which is just the inverse of the exponential function, looks like this. So the laws of logarithms come directly from the exponent laws. Logs and exponents are related. The product law of logarithms comes from the product rule of exponents. The product rule of exponents says that x to the a times x to the b is the same thing as x to the a plus b. Let's put some numbers with this, okay, like x squared, for example, times x cubed. That should be the same thing as x to the fifth. If we were to write all of that out, we would have x times x over here in our x squared. Bring down our times symbol here, and then 3x is being multiplied here. And as you can see, that is indeed true. X squared times x cubed equals x to the fifth. Now, I'm not going to prove each of these laws of exponents. We've done that in previous classes in previous years. So if you are struggling with these laws of exponents and you want to know why they're true, see me in class. I proved this first one for you and showed you why that worked. I'm not going to do the rest. Do that for the other laws of exponents. I'm assuming that you already know them and understand them. So product law of logarithms is derived from that. And our product law of logarithms says, I'm going to start here, that the log of x in base b and log of y to the base b is the same thing as log of x times y to the base b. Now, you might be sometimes given a logarithm like this and be asked to break it into an addition problem. Or you might be given two logs that you're adding with a similar base that you can rewrite as a multiplication problem. So the product law of the logarithm says that the log of xy to the base b is the same thing as the log of x to the base b plus the log of y to the base b. You can see hopefully how those are similar, related. The quotient law of logarithms comes from the quotient law of exponents, which says that x to the a divided by x to the b equals x to the a minus b. We might also write that as x to the a divided by x to the b this way. That's typically how you're going to see that. We don't really see the division symbol like this a whole lot anymore. We typically see division now represented with the fraction bar. When you see logarithms, you're going to see the fraction bar. The quotient law of logarithms says that the log of x divided by y to the base b is the same thing as the log of x to the base b minus the log of y to the base b. Again, hopefully you see this relationship here between our laws of exponents and our laws of logarithms. Our power law of logarithms comes from the power law of exponents, which says x to the a raised to the b power is the same thing as x to the a times b. As a logarithm, we have the log of x to the a power to the base of b equals a log of x to the b power. Now this one looks a little bit different. From the other one, you could see the same operation taking place, and this one looks a little bit different. But the power law allows us to take, if our argument is being raised to an exponent, it allows us to take the power of that argument and bring it down in front of the log and multiply just the plain log by that number. Remember, this value right here is called the argument. So the power law says, basically, if your argument's raised to a power, move that power to the front of the log. All right, here are all three of our logarithmic rules. They are right there. You can write those down, get those in your notes. You do need to commit those to memory. These are the exponential laws that you should already know, and these are the laws of logarithms that you are just now learning. If this is not organized enough for you and you'd rather see it in your book, you can find the same chart on page 204 of your book. You need to know these. You need to memorize these. You need to be able to use these. What else can I do to make them stand out for you? Know these laws of logarithms and how they relate to exponential laws. All right, so now we have stated the laws. Let's apply these laws. We want to find the log, base 10 here, the log, common log of a to the second power b divided by c to the fourth power to a form involving addition and subtraction. This is just too complicated here, but we can use the laws of logarithms to rewrite that as a form involving addition and subtraction. Remember, when our base is not stated, it's implied that's the base 10, and this is a common log. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is go, okay, we see this division symbol here. That means we can rewrite this as a subtraction problem. So we have log of a squared b minus log of c to the fourth. The second thing we're going to realize is, hey, these two things are being multiplied. We can rewrite that as an addition problem. The log of a squared plus the log of b, that's this part right here, that's been rewritten as an addition problem. And then our subtraction part we had from way up here. And then we're going to use the power rule because we have one of our arguments being raised to a power. And so that 2 will come down in front. So we have 2 log A plus log B minus 4 log C. 4 also came down in front of the log here because of that power rule, power law. And that is where we are stopping. We're not asked to find any particular value. We're just asked to change it to a form that involves addition and subtraction only. Now, before calculators were invented and widely used, which in the grand scheme of history has not been that long, logarithms were used to find the answers to large multiplication and division calculations. Calculators, mathematicians would have had log tables that had the common logs that somebody had figured out. So somebody created a chart of all these common logs, and they would have referred to that chart and used that to solve some more complicated problems. Here's an example of how that can be done. Using logs and antilogs. Oh, we're not going to find an example. Sorry, I thought it was in there. If you would like to see an example of how that's done, you can look on page 205. Now, the example that's on page 205, example number 2, this is not a problem that we would still solve today with logarithms because we do have calculators. But if you want to see how logs were used in the past and the usefulness of logs, you can see that. I'm not really sure why I wrote example 2 as an exponent there. I guess I'm just in exponent mode. But example 2 on page 205. All right, logs and antilogs also offer a method for evaluating roots when we're dealing with roots that are not perfect squares or perfect cubes. So let's use logarithms to find the square root of 57. Well, the first thing we want to do is take this radical and write it in exponential form. And if you don't remember how to do that, we have to know the power of this 57. And we look here, there's no exponent, so our power is 1. And we need to know the index. This is our square root, so our index is 2. That 2 is implied. And then this becomes our base. And then these two numbers form our fractional exponent. Radicals are just fractional exponents. So we would write that as 57 to the 1/2. 57 to the first power. This is our power. And this is our index. 57 pi, power of 1, index of 2. So we'd write that as x equals 57 to the 1/2 power. That's the first thing that we would do. Then we're going to take the log of both sides. We'll do the common log, base 10. So the log of 10 equals the log of 57 to the 1/2 power. We'll use the power law to bring that 1/2 down here. So 1/2 log of 57. We can then enter this amount into our calculators. Yeah, you can use calculators. You don't have to refer to a log table. Although now that I'm saying that out loud, we may practice just for fun, just to see what people used to have to do, so you don't complain about how hard these are and how long these problems are. When we put that into our calculator, we get that the log of x is approximately 0.8779. We say approximately because this has been rounded to 4 digits. We know that the base here is 10. And if we were to convert this to exponential form, we would have 10 to the 0.8779 power equals x. So let's write that, 10 to the 0.8779. We're going to have to say approximately again because this is rounded, approximately x. Plugging that into our calculator, we get x is approximately 7.55. So that tells us, if we remember what we were trying to find the square root of 57. So the square root of 57, that x is approximately 7.55. So again, logarithms are a helpful way to find roots of numbers that are not perfect roots. Now, a formula is available if you need to calculate logarithms in another base. So far, we've just been looking at base 10. On some of the older calculators, like TI-83, they only do logs and logarithms in base 10. And so if you're trying to solve a problem that's not in base 10, first you're going to have to convert it to base 10 before you can put it in your calculator. But don't worry, this is an easy plug and chug formula. And the formula is this. Let's say this is what you're trying to convert. This b right here, this base is at 10. You need to change it to 10 so that you can put it in your calculator. And in order to do that, we take the log of our argument and we divide it by the log of our base. This is going to be the base that we're trying to convert it to. If we're trying to convert it to 10, then that would be 10. So let's find log of 5.89 to the second base. Say we're trying to do that and our calculator doesn't deal with a base 2. So let's convert this to a base 10. We take the log of our argument right here and we divide it by the log of our base, which is right here. And this number right here is the base that we're trying to convert it to. And you may see, but I don't see a base. I don't see a number. Remember, it's implied. If the base is not listed there, if it's not visible, it's a base 10. And we're trying to convert it to base 10 because some of your older calculators only do base 10. So what we would then do is type this top part into our calculator that only does base 10 and divide it by this bottom part in our calculator, which only does base 10. And when we do that, we get approximately 2.558. All right, we plug that in here, 2.558 approximately. Sorry, I didn't make squiggly lines. And we get the log of 5.89 to the second base is approximately 2.558. We can check our work by taking 2 to the 2.558, and we do get approximately 5.89. All right, today we stated and applied the laws of logarithms to rewrite logarithms in a different, maybe simpler way. And we use the change of base formula to find logarithms in any base. Typically, we'll be changing bases to base 10 if they're not already in base 10. If you have any questions, write those down and ask me next class.